Yeah, it's gone all dark again. Fuck me, my hair's a state until I've just got out of fucking bed. I'll leave that at the beginning as well. People will be like, ah, outtake! Hey guys, it's Tiny Tom Logan back with another video for you. And today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. And I say that a lot lately, don't I? But this really is something a little bit different. No, I've not had a lot of coffee yet, but give it time, it could get a lot worse. I've actually got a rig here, and it's one of the YouTube subscribers, stroke forum members. You may know her by a forum name, it's Hayley Wow. I did make a server for her last year, and if I remember, it might take me a week or two, but I will post a link in the YouTube video so you can go and see the old server that we built. Basically, she was just going to upgrade to 2011, and I offered her basically ages ago that I'd help her build it. So she's got a little bit of time off work, and she's come over, stroke down, however you want to put it, to see me. Brought all her bits with her, and I'm basically just going to build it for her quickly today, or rather me and Strawberry are, because I'm going to do the building. Strawberry's going to be hoovering all the dust up and licking the case clean. Wait for the video later, he's now got his head in his hands. So right, parts. Her old rig, in fact what I'm going to do is pop the side off and grab the camera off the tripod and let you have a look. So, old rig is, what CPU's in there now, Hayley?
980X.
It's got a 980X in there. It's a Rampage 3 Extreme. There's, I'm assuming, is that 6 or 12 gig of RAM?
6, I think.
6 gig of Dominator in there. Asus 580. Zonar D2X sound card. AX 1200 watt power supply. There's an OCZ solid state drive in there, and I can't see what hard drive that is, but it's a Samsung something or other, 2 terabyte I think, all in a H100 with a selection of Bitfenix Alchemy cables. There are some Bitfenix Spectre Pro fans in the roof, which we're going to be getting fitted properly later. But basically what we're going to be doing is taking the D14 and reusing that. So we've got the 2011 upgrade kit, which is, it's not the fact that it's bigger, but it's actually the fact that it's got slightly different mounts. And the springs that are on these are a lot stiffer, so you can't use them between the two. You can see that they're black rather than silver. But anyway, so we're going to be changing the D14 over to those. Then we've got 16GB of G-Skill Ripjaw Z, 2133 memory, I do believe. Yeah, 2133 at 9, 11, 10, 28, 1.65 volts. And then we're going to be putting the Rampage 4 Extreme at the heart of the system with an Intel 3930K. As long as we get time and we can get everything running, I'm going to try and get it overclocked as well, but I can't make any promises because Hayley needs to get back on home today. So yeah, we need to you know, allow time for our travel and everything, but we're going to try and get everything done. But yeah, this is the it's basically just the Rampage 4 Extreme, but it's the Battlefield 3 edition. But you know what the board looks like because you've seen it plenty of times on the tent bench rig, which is currently running here doing some stuff at the moment. But anyway, basically I've actually got a 3930K in here at the moment, which we're going to be reviewing later. I'm just running some folding at home tests at the moment. But anyway, that's a review coming later. Steve's just hidden in the corner. Are you going to enjoy licking the case clean of all the dust, Steve?
Not really, no.
You sure?
Yeah.
It might be really, really tasty.
I highly doubt that.
Anyway, so what we're going to do now is we're going to get the rig stripped down, give it a good hoover out, and we're going to start again from scratch. So everything's going to go back in there fresh, so I can start doing all the cables and everything new. So I suppose I better be quiet, tell Steve to put the kettle on and break the screwdriver out. Any music that you can hear in this video, it's all being streamed from One Rock FM. I do have permission to have it on in the background in the videos, and I haven't done for a while, but I thought I would on this one. Hit it up, guys. It's it's free radio station, no adverts, online. It's awesome. And yeah, take a look on Facebook as well. But anyway, give it a try because I really like this radio station, and I've not said anything about them for a while. But anyway, moving on. We've stripped the rig down. It's all in bits. Straubs is just changing the clips on the fans so that we can make the fans tidier on the D14 before we start hoovering everything off. All the parts are out, like I said, starting again from scratch. Going to give everything a bit of a hoover and a clean before we start putting everything back in, trying to make everything look tidy. There's the old bits. Good old trusty Rampage 3 Extreme. I use one of those for bloody ages. 580. We've got some of the new Bit Phoenix fans actually, so we're going to get those in there as well. There's also one for the rear exhaust. Solid state drive, and then the 2 TB storage, and then we have the new bits, but we'll do some more on this in a bit. Again, I know I only showed this to you briefly, quickly before, but just trying to give you like a little bit of a blog as we go along. But we're going to get in the case now. Give it a bit of a clean because it's a bit dusty where it gets used a lot. It gets left on 24/7 quite a bit. So we're going to get it all tidied up before we start banging all the new parts in. But yeah, I suppose I should be quiet. It's really just Straubs holding us up at the moment, to be perfectly honest with you. He's been stood there for about trying to do those clips for, what is it now, Straubs? 2 hours?
No, about 10 seconds.
Oh, it's got to be longer than that. Anyway, we're going to crack on with this, start getting this cleaned up, and I'll try to keep you updated as we go through, because I'm also going to do a bit of cable tidying on this as well, and try and make it look all tidy before it goes back. But anyway, it's time to get the hoover out. Right then, my lovelies, we're starting to get the bits in there now. We've got the board, the CPU and all the RAM in there. I've added a 6-pin red PCI Express cable because Hayley had a black one, but luckily I've got some, without killing everything, I've actually got quite a bit of Bit Phoenix Alchemy stuff laying around, so I went and grabbed one of those. We're going to be using red Alchemy SATA cables as well, which we've added. But basically now what I need to do, oh, and just for those of you out there that always ask about will an E80X fit into a 600T, well, that's what it does to the grommets. You can still get the cables in and out fine, but it does just cover them ever so slightly. It's really no big deal. If you're worried, fit the cables before you fit the motherboard, but other than that, that's all we need to do. Right, so yeah, that's that. What I need to do now is get the power supply in there and start running cables and stuff and get the CPU cooler fitted. But to be perfectly honest with you, it's the longest thing I've got to do now is cable tidy. I'll be sat here for quite a bit trying to get the cable tied in, all done, all up and all lovely and everything. I will try and get things set up so when I'm doing it I can walk you around it. So the next bit of the video may take quite a bit, but everyone keeps asking me about cable tidying, so I'll give it a crack and see how the video comes out. If it comes out alright in this one, I may do a proper one afterwards, but it's really just a case of not being worried to unclip stuff. There's no like set way of doing it, but anyway, I'm going to get the power supply in and out and we'll start having a look. Right then peeps, cable tidying. I thought about doing this video loads, but I'm going to do it as like a trial with Hayley's. Basically, the main rules of cable tidying would be don't be afraid to redo anything. Always think about the tidiest possible way that you can put everything in. It's basically just about spending your time. When people say, oh, I need you to do a guide on cable tidying, to be perfectly honest with you, everyone should be able to do it. It's just about not being afraid to, you know, take it apart if it doesn't look right and redoing it again. And it really is just about spending your time, looking how you can clip things together, looking how you can, you know, possibly get the cables to go in the longest possible distance to be able to keep it tidy and stuff. But I'll try and do my best with this, but like I said, to be perfectly honest with you, if you really think about it, you shouldn't need a guide in the first place. it's just those people that out there that basically just want me to tell them exactly what to do and not use their own brain. It's pretty much a lazy way of doing it, to be perfectly honest with you. But right, the power supply, I always stick my power supplies in. You fucking, oh, pardon me, I thought I hadn't pressed record. Right. Yeah, I always put my power supplies in what people say is upside down, but it doesn't bloody matter. Don't count the power supply as an extra fan, doesn't make any difference. It's just, I do it for aesthetics. They don't get warm, there's no other reason for putting it in that way than, like I said, it just looks nicer to have a fan in the bottom than a bloody ugly power supply sticker. Luckily the Corsair stuff is 100% modular. So pretty much what we need to do is start working on the basics. So we'll stick the 24 pin cable through because we know we're going to need that. And then we need to find an 8 pin and a 6 pin PCI Express. That's the one from the top. I'm just picking them off the floor, by the way, just in case you wonder what the bloody hell's going on. So I'm just finding the ones that I need. CPU. So we want that one. We need one more PCI Express. I'm just looking for it. Like I said, this was never going to be straightforward, was it? CPU. I might cut this out later. PCI Express, there it is. Right. So we put the PCI Expresses through. Now the reason why I'm putting all the cables that I know 100% I'm going to need through first is so that we can get the stuff tidy this end, because we'll do the motherboard tray afterwards. That's the 8 pin. So right, we've got the basics through there. So that's the 24 pin cable, the PCI Express power cable, and the 8 pin for the motherboard tray. Now the other ones that we had attached in here before was a Molex, which we all know that everyone's going to need, but I'm going to push that through this way. And then a SATA power. So I'll push that through as well. Now what I've done, if I zoom you in, let's see if I can make this look a bit better for you. Right, that's the best I'm going to be able to do light-wise. But basically what I've done is I've pushed them all through. Now even down to putting the cables through at the bottom, you want to put them through in the tidiest possible way. So what we'll do is we'll put the ones that are at the back of the power supply in their clips first. So I've put them right at the very end and I've clipped those in. Let me just clip this one in. I know I've got my head in the way, but you'll just have to put up with it. Right, so I've clipped those in, so we can push those cables through a bit more now. The reason why we've put them right at the end of the power supply, because we know these are the ones that we're going to need, but we also, we don't want to see, you know, any cables that we don't necessarily want. I know the 24 pin cable goes right up here, so we'll do that one last. 8 pin CPU, where does that one go? They go in there with the PCI Express. So what we'll do is we'll do PCI Express first. No, actually, because we want, yeah, right, PCI Express first. So I'll put that one in. Then we slide that one along. And we'll put that one in. And then we'll put this one in. Shovel that spare cable through. And then we fit the 24 pin. Right, as far as the board is concerned, I'm just trying to see whether you can see. I'll take the camera off so you can have a better look. Unzoom, there we go. Right, so as far as the power supply is concerned, on the inside, that's all we need to do. Don't moan about it being black. I really can't put any more light on this without it bleaching everything out. But we've got everything clipped in. Maybe if I do like a dedicated video for this, I'll have to make sure that I get some stupidly bright light or something. But you can see they're all clipped in. I've done them all so it's in lines, and then all I'm going to do now is put a zip tie around the ones at the back and pull them all tight so they all pull in really, really tidy. In fact, what I'm going to do quickly now is just move one of the lights. Right, light change. Well, I've got another light and I'm getting a suntan. You can see my shadow because it's right behind me. But right, I've clipped them all in line, as you can see across the top. That's the PCI Express and the 8 pins. We've got the two, well, the Molex and the SATA at the back. And all I'm going to do now is just put a zip tie across. And then, yeah. So that's how tidy you can have the bottom looking. Ignore this for the minute because we're not finished. But I'm going to clip these up now, and then really it's all work on the back. So I'll try and get the lights and everything set up, and we'll spin the case, excuse me, round and start working on clipping stuff onto the back of the board. Right then, before we move round to the back panel, I've got everything else fitted on this side, apart from we're now going to end up using a H100. Long story, but anyway. So Haley's got some NZXT braided lights that go all the way up and round. So there we go. I fitted that, and if you have a look, the power cable literally just disappears off round the back of the case. I'll show you that in a second. We've also got the power cable for the D2X Zonar just disappearing straight out the back. So there's not really anything inside the case. I've put the cables for the PCI Express round, but one thing I will say is that with the PCI Express cables, don't be afraid when you put the cables in. If you have a look at it with it round that way, you can see that you know, they loop over each other. Don't be afraid to change the way that the cables come in to make it look tidy. So what we end up doing is pushing the cables back through to the other side, pulling all the cables in, and then that looks much tidier than having this one coming out and going over the top. So like I said, don't be afraid to unclip something to make it look tidier. Basically what I would do is I would say to yourself, literally look for any imperfections and then try and change it. You know, you may not see it, your mates might not see it, do you know what I mean? But if you think of anything, oh, that might look a bit better, just give it a go and see what it looks like. Because obviously you can see there that with this one coming over the top, it's better to have that 6-pin cable underneath, and then they all kind of just blend in together then. And then that just looks much tidier there. I'm doing my best with the light because, like I said, I mean, if I just show you, you can see the lights. I've got both my studio lights up, and that's just to try and show you the inside of the case, and they are blindingly bright as well. So right, that's that. Now we need to move round to the other side of the case, but I also need to fit the H100 quickly because I need to get this on, sort the power cable out for it, work out how I'm going to feed it in. So once I've fitted the H100, I'll show you around the back of the case. Right then peeps, we got the H100 in. Dear God, I wish I'd fitted it to start off with. Anyway, we got the H100 in. As I've always said with this, if you have a look, there's not really enough room to get another set of fans in here at all. There's probably 15, maybe 20 millimeters of room, but if you have a look where the power cable is and stuff, it's just not going to happen in a 600T. So you have to have the fans above, and that's why you can fit them up there. So you can see it's like almost mil perfect. I know some people are going to have squeezed them in and their motherboards allow them to and stuff like that, or you can move it over, but for just bolting it in sake, single set of fans. Hayley wants to use the Bit Phoenixes, so that's what we're using with these, not the original Corsairs. But yeah, it's all in there. If you have a look, I've put the power cable up that way and out the top, and then I'll wire all that in. But that's the inside of the rig as it stands at the moment. Now what I need to do is get around the back of the case, and what we're going to do is I'm going to stick you on the tripod and then I'll talk you around what we might be doing. Right then, round the back of the case. So what we've got to deal with to start off with, just to show you down here, this is what I did with the, let me see if I can zoom you in so you can actually see this, because I really can't see because I've got the lights blinding my eyes. So I'm hoping that you can see this bit. But there's a cutout in the back of the motherboard tray for where the clip is for the power supply, and rather than having a cable being really ugly on the inside, I just unbolted the power supply again, poked the cable through and then pushed the power supply right up against hard on it, so you can still screw it in at the back, but it just means that the cable's poked through. And this is what I mean about just, you know, thinking where's the best place to put it, because if you're trying to hide your cables, which is essentially what you're meant to be doing on the other side, it's just hiding everything so you can't see it. So you take the quickest route out, and if there's no quick route, you've either got to make it immensely tidy or make a quicker route yourself. If I move it this way, I didn't realise the camera was so far out. There you go, and you can see the cutout there, and basically that's just there's a flap on the other side that a power supply just sits underneath. But if I move the camera back out again, put that up there. Right, so basically what we've got to do, we've got a Molex here that we're going to need to get wired in for the H100, and then we've got the fan for the back and the fans for the H100 in the roof. So we're going to clip those up there for a minute because we need those to go onto the fan controller. But the main thing is the 24 pin and the PCI Express power cables, because we want to get all those all nice and tight. And where there's a load of cable to hide, what I normally try and do is put the cables up and around and then clip them across, so that you're getting them right out the way. But one thing I will say is with the cables on the floor, don't be afraid to like reverse braid, or you know like when you plait your hair, or like your girlfriend plaits her hair, don't be afraid to move the cables around so that they look tidier for when you start laying them around. Because if you have them so that they're tidier, it means you've not got cables laying over cables and making the back of the case bulge. So don't be afraid to put the cables round so that it looks better. Also, what you've got to think about, especially with this case, we've got a Molex here that we've got to feed, we've got a Molex here that we've got to feed, and we've got a Molex at the top that we need to feed for the H100. So what we need to do is get the Molex cables as well, and then I need to be able to work out, am I going to have enough cable to be able to get them up? So it's, you know what I mean, you can have a little bit of a dummy run and have a look. So we'll clip that in. Does that mean I can still get cables in down there? I can. And we've got another cable here which we'll need for the braided SATA power if we use this to go up to the roof, because it's the one that you can see. But there are, like I said, there are ways. It really is just about like taking your time. And what I'm going to do is what I'll probably do is start with the 24 pin and get that all clipped up. But as I do it, if I find that I need to put other cables in, I'll quite happily unclip or unzip tie, because it's always a really good idea to have a load of zip ties handy, just like normal zip, you know the ones I mean. But anyway, I'll quite happily unclip the zip tie and then redo it all again, just to make sure that it's perfectly tidy. But what I'm going to try and do is change the camera now so that we're viewing down, and and then I'm going to work on it from above, and then hopefully I'll set all the camera up, and then I'll just crack on with it, and we'll be here for quite a while I do it, but hopefully it'll end up looking better in the long run. It's probably going to be the easiest way for me to show you. The reason why I say I'm going to lay it down is because then you've not got the cables falling out all over the place. They're actually going to be as you're going to want them, and you can get them in there and get them all nice and tight. So I'm going to get cracking on moving everything around, and then yeah, we'll go from there. Right then peeps, so we're just having a ganders round at what we're going to do. I know that I've got 1, 2, there's one here, 3, 4 Molexes that I'm going to need for this side of the case. And then there's also another one at the front here to power the fan controller, and I also know I'm going to need one for the the SATA power extension on that side. So I'm probably going to have to put another Molex cable in, but I'm going to see if I can't get away with then not using the SATA cable instead to keep it tidy. Because if I don't have to use a SATA cable, I can basically swap one with another. And I think that if I have this power cable here, then it also means that I can then run this cable up, and that'll do the SATA power for the top. So I don't actually need a dedicated SATA power. So basically I'm going to get rid of this one and replace it with a normal Molex one, because what you need to remember is if you don't need a cable in there, don't have it in there. If there's a way around it, because then it's one less cable that we've got to hide and try and make look tidy. So before we get cracking on this, I'm now going to swap this for a Molex cable quickly, and then we'll crack on with getting this all tidy. Right then peeps, got the second Molex through now. So we've got those in, so I know we're going to use one for light up at the top end of the case, and then we're going to have another one down at the bottom. It'll also leave Hayley with a spare. Now we'll clip those cables up in a minute. The ones I'm going to concentrate on initially is the 24 pin cable, which is here. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to run this round the side of the case to start off with, because like I said, we want to make it nice and tidy. So we're going to shove that up there. And there's a little clip there, so we know we can use that if we have to. If we clip these on, so then that's roughly where we want it. Just grab a zip tie. These are quite big zip ties, to be perfectly honest with you. I could have done with a slightly smaller one. I'm sorry if I'm getting in the way, but I'm just trying to get this done. So right, that's the first one in. Now we've got that clipped in, but obviously there's still a bit of slack here. There's no real way I can clip it. Once the door's on, that should all pull in fine. It's quite tight around the other side. That's about as good as we're going to get that one. So now we need to do the PCI Express. So we make sure I get the PCI Express cables. Right, so we get the 2 PCI Express cables, and they need to roughly go in the same place. So what I'm going to do is put them round in the same way. I'm unbraiding them, don't forget, to make it all remotely tidy as much as I can. Now like I said, it's all about just taking your time and make sure you're pushing stuff down where you can. Now we know the PCI Express cables are up there, so basically all I'm going to do is just clip these on over the top for the time being. Right, so we've got those. So what I'm going to do now is basically I'm going to stick a zip tie through there. These zip ties are quite big for this, to be perfectly honest with you. But right, so we pull it a little bit tight so that they're going to look tidier on the other side. Stick the zip tie through. Right, so that's done and over the top. When the side panel goes on, it's really not going to make a lot of difference. They'll sit all in nice and tidy. What we can also do down on this side is grab the three, stick a zip tie around, so it'll help them stick together when they're down there. Obviously try and stick them in as much as possible. So we'll clip these off. Right. So now all we've got to do for the top end of the case is the 8-pin EPS power and then the Molexes. Now this Molex is going to need to go underneath this one. So get that out of the way, push all the cables back down in. Right, so 8-pin power. This one's quite long, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to loop this up. So zip tie. Now where have we got clips? So if I zip tie this, more zip ties. So where do we want to put these? There's no clips down this side here really that I can use. There's that one. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go underneath that one because it's already fixed. Now I'm not going to pull that in tight yet because I want to get all these ones down here sorted. I'm going to stick a big long one through the 24 pin, because you know that one's fixed. Alright, I'm quite happy with that now, so we'll zip that one up. That one's done up. Clip, clip. Right, so already we can see we've made that look quite tidy. We've still got the Molexes to power. We've also still got to sort the fans out as well, which is going to be a bit of a mission in itself. But what we'll do, these two down here can actually go into each other, just like that. So that's one powered off the other one, which we can then stick that Molex on there, and where that's quite tight, that should keep all those down with each other as well. We'll just try and make the cable look a bit tidy, wrapping it around. Right, so now we've got 3 Molex cables, and the shortest cable is going to be the H100 one, so we'll use the one that's going to keep it the tightest, which is going to be that one. So we can slide the H100 cable on there. Always make sure all the cables have got a good fit. I hate it when Molex cables don't go in straight away. One thing I will say though is quite often you'll find that the pins will come out the back of the connectors. Just make sure you give them a good push back in. This one's been a bit of a pain in the bum, to be perfectly honest with you, but I'll try and get it in now. Normally once they've come out once, they always come out. Right, so we got that one in there. So that's the H100 in. You can see it's all pulled nice and tight over the top because we used the right length cable for it. Now the fans, these are going to be a bit of a pain in the arse, to be perfectly honest with you, so we're going to end up using lots of zip ties. So what I'm going to do is put one up at the top here so it pulls them all in tight. Now obviously this isn't going to be like the tidiest cable tidying job in the world because A, we're trying to do it quick, and B, we're using a lot of fan cables and Molex cables. Just in case anyone skipped it earlier, the music in the background is One Rock FM. Go and find Randy and tell him you love the station. Right, so we're trying to fit the bloody Molex connectors again. Oh, that one's gone in a bit better. Right, so we'll zip these up a bit. Steve, can you restart that? Right, so we've got one Molex connector spare there, so that's something good for in the future. We've obviously still got Molexes here as well, because we're going to use some for down the bottom. I may even be able to get away with just using, excuse me, that one yet, and using that for the SATA, but we'll see. So I may even still be able to take this out. We're going to do the SATA cables last though, because that's the easiest thing, because all I've got to do is clip it on, run it up, that's that done. Next thing is all the internal cables. Now, Hales doesn't look like she's used any of that lot. But pretty much the bulk of the cable tidying there is done. This is now just like the motherboard tray stuff. So one thing we do need to do is get the fan cables. We have got 3 spare, so I may even end up powering these ones at the top off of the motherboard one yet, and getting rid of that Molex, because then we won't need to do that. So in fact, that's what I'm going to do. See, this is one of the things I wanted to say to you, or I said to you about earlier. Don't be afraid to, just because you've done something, if it's going to look tidier another way, change it. So what we're going to do is unclip all of these. Right, so we now don't need this one, so we can unclip that. Which we can use to power the fan controller now, which is quite cool. So what we're going to do is get all the fan cables, clip them into the ones for the fan controller in the front of the case. And then what we need to do is make them look tidy as possible, which obviously with a big bunch of cables isn't the easiest thing in the world, but I normally get them all together like that. Get some more zip ties. Like I said, you can go through loads of these things, which is why it's always good to have a load of laying around. Crikey, we've got 15 minutes worth of just fan cable stuff. Right, so we need to power the fan controller, so we can just clip that one on. Actually, we'll put it on this one, because then we're not going to have a... Right, so then that's that in there. That lot can go back in there because we don't need to worry about that. We don't need the firewire cable. We don't need front panel audio. All we need is the USB and the front panel clips. So what we're going to do is put that through there like that, out the way. Now I know they don't need to be very long, so we'll clip these out the way. Right, so we are getting there. This cable should have been clipped up here really, so I'm going to buzz another cable tie through. Right, so we've got that out the way. Right, now all these cables we don't need, so we just roll them up as best we can. Basically we want to stuff them up in this corner, but I'm going to stick a cable tidy round them. I want to show you a little trick. Basically on this side here you've got the little clips that would be the for the optical bays. What you do is you get your cable tidy through the optical bay bit, because it gives you a place to anchor the cable. Pull it in nice and tight. This bit up here we know we're not going to see, so we're not really too fussed about that. So we pull all that tight, chop that off. Bob's your mother's brother, or Bob's your uncle, depending on how you like to say it. And that's that bit done. So the last thing we've got to do is for the SATA power. So we clip the SATA power clip on. Now, I already know that we've got an optical bay in this, which does make me feel slightly sick. But we have the cables down here, and then we need one up here for the optical bay. So we've got the two cables for the hard drives, we've got the one up there for the optical bay. I'm going to stick the hard drives in quick, but essentially that is your cable tidy and done. Although when I look at that on the camera it doesn't look that brilliant, but at least it's all in there. You're going to get the door on nice and easy, and all the cables are there. And the best bit is, like I said to you before, we've now got a redundant Molex cable. So I'm going to remove this cable now because we don't need it. And yeah, if you give me a couple of minutes, I'm going to put the hard drives in. I'm going to put the SATA cables all in as well, and then I will show you the finished article. Right then peeps, that's the finished job. Obviously we could have got it a lot tidier if we didn't have all these extension cables, because we've obviously added all that extra cable in. But hopefully that will give you a rough idea on the way I go about doing things. When we put the side panel on, it is just going to be a case of making sure that we go, because obviously it's not going to go on very often. We do have to push it over the cables at the bottom, but once we've done that, it all goes straight on, clips on. That's all lovely jubbly. So that's all, it's not bulging out the side or anything. I'm just going to turn the camera thing around so we can actually see what's going on, and then we have a look on the inside. So if I tip this back a bit, I'm going to rejig the camera so that we can have a look. Now again, because of the cables, we can obviously see this cable here, because I couldn't really do anything about that, and the SATA cables as well. One thing I did say to BitPhoenix recently when I met them was making the SATA cables a bit longer, because I don't think they're particularly long enough, to be honest with you, as in the actual SATA cable itself. But the SATA power here is pulled quite tight so that we can get it right the way up to the roof. But that's it, build done. We've obviously fitted the H100 in the roof. There's now a 3930K in there, 16GB 2133 G-Skill RAM. We've got all the cable extensions in. I've even changed a few. Got the red SATA cables in there. We've tidied all the power supply cables up down the bottom. Yeah, H100 in there with the BitPhoenix fans in the roof, as you can see in the top. And if I just grab the, I know I'm in the way of the camera, but if we just grab that, that all goes in there lovely now. We can clip that down, jobs are good in. That's it. Builded rig. So yeah, what do you think? One thing we are going to be looking for is Haley's not really got a name for this yet. So one of the things that we want to kind of base it on is it's got a bit of a black and red theme going on, you know, a bit of a like the normal Republic of Gamers colours. So we need a name for it, but not anything too dark and dreary. We want something a bit upbeat, you know, so a positive name for it. So yeah, post comments underneath about a positive name. Also, let me know what you thought about the where I showed you the cable tidying. Obviously, I could have done it a lot different. I may do it again when I do my server, because that'll have so little cables in it. You'll be able to see that we can get them insanely tidy. But yeah, let me know, because I may do that as like a dedicated video with another rig at some point later on. But technically, this should all work now. I say technically, we're going to turn it on. There's going to be sparks flying out the back, flames. Yeah, it looked like we've had bloody Al Qaeda here or something. But shut up. I know I'm rambling now. But yeah, that's it, guys. And I suppose I really should make this the end of the video, because this video is going to be enormously long. What I'm going to do now is tidy up a bit, because there's just stuff everywhere, all bloody zip ties and shit. So I'll get it tidied up, get it tested, and yeah, I may show you pictures at the end of it all finished and lit up. But for now, at least, this is Tiny Tom Logan with another video for you. Out, look, 2 thumbs. I'm getting good at this now. I've been practicing. Right then, peeps, as promised, finished, finito, finally done, everything sorted. Just thought I'd give you a quick look of it all powered on and everything. We've got it overclocked now, just at a nice tidy 4.6 gigahertz at 1.35 volts. So nothing too horrendous overclock wise, but also, you know, helps keep the temps down a bit, because we all know the 2011 processors are quite hot. We've got the fans in the top wired up to the fan controller. So that means we can leave the Corsair pump on max all the time. But yeah, I suppose I should just be quiet and turn it on. So we've got, that's it on now. Oh, hang on a sec. It's just going to get funny because we've just clicked another hard drive in, but it will start up again. There's a white LED in the front, which is the standard Corsair fan, and then we've got white LEDs on the inside. I'll just, crikey, if I just click my microphone on, I'll turn this off. Fans are on maximum at the moment, just so that you know. Can't really, there we go, I'll move the camera in. There we go, you can see the lights in the roof. If I just turn the light off quick. So we've got the lights in the roof showing there. Zoom you in a bit. I'll unclick these so that you can see the fans underneath. So there's the 2 fans underneath. I'll whiz down. You can see the fan in the back. You can see the little Corsair light lit up. And you can see the fan in the front here, but I'm not going to show you it. Do you know what I mean? Literally turn everything on. But it does look really nice, sat there all lit up. But yeah, I just wanted to show you just quickly, because everyone says, oh, you didn't show us it powered on. Well, there you go, I have, it's all powered on. I'll put those the fan grill back on the roof so that you can see it with that on again. Crikey, it almost blacks it out from the view here. But anyway, there you go, peeps. That's it, rig finished. At 1.35 volts with the H100. Don't forget, like I said, the 2011s are quite hot. The temperatures in OCCT, which we were using in Limpack with 90% of the memory being used as well, were up in the high 70s, but that was after a fairly good run. If you were to use Prime, you'd be looking at about 70 degrees, and probably, do you know what I mean, around the 60s mark for just like normal gaming and stuff. But OCCT really does rape the back end out of the systems. It's even worse than Prime, and I just like to use it for like 100% stability testing, because like I said, it overloads the processor in so many different ways. It's brilliant. But door on, Crikey, look, can't see anything now. Well, as you can't see anything with that little Corsair squiggle, oh, ta-da! It's time to go. So this is Tiny Tom Logan with another video for you. Out once again. Really didn't think that through because my arm's got to go somewhere now. So